You want to make 200,000? And we've heard this before in a different way. I just said it with vigor. You're only
Mm-hmm,
making
mm-hmm.
50,000. It's costing you $150,000 not to hit your goal, not learning
Yeah.
what it takes to hit your goal.
Yep.
This business podcast, the Two Business Guys Mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. All right, so Two Business Guys are back, and Rob just dropped a bomb. Say that again, Rob.
So when you're in a process, when you're trying to get value from a customer or whatever, one of the things that's important is when you can show the journey that something has gone to from where it was to where it is now, there's an inherent extra valuation that people put on it, right? When you can tell the story, that's why they talk about it so much. We've learned we're storytellers and we learn through story, and so you can communicate value in something so much more if there's a story behind it versus just the thing by itself. And we talk about kind of flipping houses. When you have a house, and if you just bring somebody in to buy the house after it's been repaired, after it's done, you bring people in to see the house, the people, if they aren't given a story about the house, if they don't know that it's a historic landmark and that we've renovated and we didn't, but if you just bring them the house, they'll think that it's, the market value of all the other houses that have those same things. They look at the bedroom or, the number of bedrooms, they look at the square footage, they look at all the rest of that type of stuff. They compare apples to apples. But you give that same house a story, we took this wall out and then we put oak in here and we brought locally sourced materials and we did this and we did that, and boom, and here's the before picture and here's the after picture, and you can demonstrate that story to people. It inherently increases the value of the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we were talking about it from my business perspective. One of the things that I struggled with in the beginning especially was I am a fixer, I'm a solver. I go in and I see a problem and I fix the problem. And one of the problems with that is most of the times the people who are evaluating whether the problem is fixed never understood the extent of the problem. So they didn't know how much it was costing them to begin with. And now that they see that it's fixed, they don't value the solution as much as they should because they don't know how much it actually solved,
Yeah,
how much it actually brought them. Because they
yeah.
weren't paying attention to it. And now they're just paying attention to it, and they're paying attention to the qualitative effects of the solution, not the quantitative effects of the solution.
It's like in personal development, if one of the things that you sell is not the process. The moment you sell the process, you've lost. You sell,
Yeah,
here's how your life's going to be different after. I forget that
exactly.
sometimes. Here's how your
Yeah,
business is going to be different after.
yeah, yeah. You sell the transformation.
You sell the
Yeah,
transformation. How many of you
yeah.
right now are not selling the transformation? Right now
Right.
in class, we talked about this, Rob, about
Mm-hmm.
features and benefits, right? Well, we go levels
Mm-hmm.
deeper. Features,
That's it.
just tell, and we don't do that. We don't tell
Yeah.
processes and all that. But I see so many materials, and even as I look back at some of my own material, it's like, yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. No, here's what
Mm-hmm.
you get afterwards.
Yep. And here's the
Do
thing I
you
think that's
want
so
that?
important in that conversation, because right, that's the level that I played at it for a long time, was focusing on outcomes, right? And even outcomes will get you more sales. Don't get me wrong. So this is not like bad. This kind of good, better, best, right? Comes will get you sales. And it's something I learned actually listening to Myron Golden. We were talking about that a little bit off camera, right? Outcomes will get you sales, but the transformation will get you margin,
I like
right?
that. I
And
like
the
that.
transformation, what a lot of people miss when they talk about the transformation is that most people are not able to discuss the before. They just talk about the after. And here's the reality, right? I just had a client, I was just doing this recently, right? Most people are not really clear on where they are right now. They know that there's a gap. Their gut tells them that there's a gap between where they want to be and where they are. They have no gauge on how far away from where they are, where they want to be, that they are, and how much it would be worth to them to move from the place where they really are to where they really want to be. And what so many times I did, this was my mistake. I don't know if any of the rest of y'all are having the same thing, but so many times what I did was I would focus on where they want to be, and I would do the work of getting them from where they were to where they wanted to be. And when we get to the end, they always thought that they traveled a shorter distance than they did. They
That's where
always
that
thought that it
story
was
comes in.
easier, right?
Mhm.
And part of the problem is I did such a good job that it was easier than they thought it was going to be. So then their memory of it is, oh, that wasn't that hard. Could have done it on my own, right?
That
Even
was
it,
so funny. They don't value the fact that, and I'm going to tell two stories, everybody, to what Rob just said. One was when I was helping a lady literally sell a couple of her items from an idea. I says, okay, you got an idea? Let's take it immediately into action, because this is one of my approaches. Idea to action to income, right? And then at the end of it, she says, that was easy. Right? Next one. Plumber comes over my house. My kitchen sink has been, plugged up since Friday. Right now, I went to the store and I done bought Drano and all this kind of stuff. Right, the plumber comes over. They go down the basement and they just kind of look. Right, and I know the game, and I'm like, okay, game on. Right, they got to come over here because they probably know where the problem is. They go
exactly.
open up the trap, take out a knife that had gone down the sink. Just for good measure, they put the snake in there, right? They saw, oh, we went out 25 feet and we didn't get any blocks. It was the knife. All I had to do was take off the trap, and they
Mm-hmm.
charged me $100. It would have been $200, but I was
Exactly.
like, hey man, I didn't hear from you guys in 3 days, and I've been having to deal with that. So okay, we'll take $100 off. But
Yep. Yep.
it was that easy.
Yes. Now, here's the funny thing, because I got a story just like that. It's a little bit, it was, I understood how hard it was though. So I had I used to have a car that was a stick shift. All of my cars were stick shifts until I got tired of having to deal with the mechanical issues if I got a stick shift, right? And this is one of those instances. So I go out, I go to start my car won't start. And I'm like, I know that everything is good. Here's this. And I'm like, maybe the alternator went bad. So I go to YouTube University. I figure out how to go take out the alternator and check it, blah, blah, blah. So I go through, it's 3 hours later. I got the alternator out. I done broke
Yeah.
one of the doggone nuts that holds it on and all the rest type of stuff. So I'm at AutoZone. I'm testing the alternator. Alternator's fine. I'm like, so this ain't it. So I go back. I got to put the alternator back now. Now I got to try to figure out. I go look at all the fuses, check all the fuses to make sure all the fuses are good. So now I'm stumped. But it's 3 days later now that I've been working on trying to find and figure out this thing. And under my car, doing all the rest of that stuff. Thank goodness I'm an entrepreneur, so I could take the time. But I didn't really have the time to take, but I needed it because I needed my car, right? I go and I break down and I take it to the mechanic. And in a day, they're like, "Yep, we know what it is. Here's the issue. It was the clutch plate, and if the clutch plate sensor is bad, then it doesn't notice that the clutch is down, so the car won't start." Blah blah blah. And $120 bill. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, just from my knowledge, tell me how much was the part? They were like, "Oh, that was $20." But it was knowing that it was the part and then being able to fix the part, which was the thing. And what I realized in that moment, right? There's an old joke, old story about the guy that comes into the factory. The machine's been down for a week. They losing $100,000 a day. They like, we gotta get somebody in here to fix it, and nobody's been able to fix it. They call this one guy. They're like, he's the machine whisperer. He comes in. He's like, turn it on. He turns it on. It's one, and he's like, all right, turn it back off. He takes out his hammer. He goes, Pink,
Yeah.
turn it back on. And they go, and it runs and it does everything it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
He's like, sends him an invoice, that'll be $20,000. He's like, what? $20,000? I need an itemized invoice. I need to know exactly what you did. And so he's like, okay, hold on, give it back. He says, $1 for hitting the machine with a hammer, $19,999 for knowing where to hit.
Yeah. And I love that. I've heard that same one with the plumber,
Yeah.
right? Hitting it,
Yeah.
the pipe
Yeah.
in the right spot. So
Uh-huh.
this is one of the dilemmas. And this is why I think people, if you're listening to this right now, right? Number one, hit the subscribe button if you love what we do here and all this kind of stuff. Comment on things, disagree with us if you want to, and we'll set you straight, trust me. But so let's think about this for a minute. Imagine now your business is
Mm-hmm.
out there doing business with somebody, but they don't realize they have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to tell what Rob said. You got to tell a story. You got to
Mm-hmm.
agitate the problem,
Yeah.
right? Now, once you
Yeah.
agitate the problem, then they go, oh, I guess I do have a problem. Because you said it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
People don't value sometimes what they're, oh, Rob. So they don't value where they're stuck. So
Right.
check this out. I did a video just this, and this is on my personal channel. But I took it was a short video, it was like a minute, 53 seconds. But I says, here's what it's costing you not to hit your goal, what you want to make a year. And I says, you want to make 200,000? And we've heard this before in a different way. I just said it with vigor. You're only making 50,000. It's costing you $150,000 not to hit your goal, not learning what it takes to hit your goal.
Yep, not figuring it out. Yep. I
Sometimes
agree
we have to tell companies and the people you're working with, the people you're serving, here's what it's costing you not to have this transformation.
And it's important too, because right, if we do our jobs well, they're not supposed to know how hard it is to do what we do. If we're good at, so the better you get at whatever your service, whatever your product is, whatever it is that you do, the better you get at it, the easier it should look to the outside observer. Problem is that is a detriment to them being able to understand how valuable what you do is. Because if it looks easy, if they're like, I can do it, then they don't think that what you're doing is amazing. And this is where the before and after the story comes into play, because if you can get them very clear on the gap. When my company, one of the things I just had a meeting with my staff, and we were talking about this, right? Because a lot of people think that problems are subjective, problems are opinion. And I'm like, no, problems are not opinions. Problems are objective facts. Now, issues, feelings, right? Dilemmas, all the rest of that can be your opinion. I feel like this is the thing that we need to be doing. I feel like we should be. That's a feeling. That's an opinion. Everybody got one. That's cool. But when you're talking about a problem, as we define it in my company, as I define it with my clients, is this. Problem is that you have a defined current state, you have a defined desired state, and there's a gap between those two. And that gap is the problem. It is quantifiable, it is measurable, it is understandable and articulable from the perspective of when are we in it and when are we out of it. Once you have that, now we can talk about a problem, because now you can actually compare solutions and say how well they alleviate that problem. What a lot of businesses do is they don't actually quantify the problem. And so now when we're charging for the solution, the prices that we charge seem outsized to what the problem is, because they don't have a full understanding of what the problem is, especially for those of you all that kind of charge after you fix something or after you diagnose something, right? But you haven't gotten them clear on how big their gap is. I just worked with a client today, and part of what I did with her is I walked her through, okay, let's talk about where you want to be. And let's really talk about realistically. Like, I don't want you doing pie in the sky for me, because like you don't believe that can happen. I want you to tell me, if you had this solved, what you realistically think is guaranteed, bona fide, definitely going to happen if you get rid of this problem. What would be the end state? Boom, we got that. Now I want you to drop that down a little bit, and I want you to tell me what would be the end state that would be better than where we are now, so that it's good enough, but it still wouldn't be like it's awesome. It's just hey, I'm so glad I don't got that problem no more. Tell me that. Now I want you to tell me where you are right now. And when she did that, where she wanted to be, her awesome was 10x where she is right now.
Wow.
The reason why it's important is she would have never been able to recognize that it was that big of a gap before I made her actually do the numbers.
And then you then, as the service, is like the example I use of, if you want to get to Chicago from Grand Rapids, Michigan, what are all the ways you can get there? And then what you're saying is, well, this vehicle is going to get you there faster.
Exactly. Not only is this vehicle going to get you there faster, it's going to get you there faster. And you've already articulated that the distance that you would have to travel is this much. So however fast, or let's say it's going to take you 10 hours to get there, doing it the way you're doing it. But this is going to get you there in 1 hour. The question then becomes, how much is 9 hours of your time worth? Not how much is this trip worth?
Yeah. And can you value it? It's something that I did personally, everybody, as you're listening to this. Now, your guy can be a little hard-headed sometimes. All right. And I've got some overseas folks that work on my videos. Right, Rob, help me with that. Says, man, let go of some of that stuff. Stop doing it yourself. But I'm gaining a skill. Yeah, but do you really want to gain that skill? Kind of a thing, right? Yes, I do, Rob. But anyway, so get this. I take a Nas song and I strip out of it the business lessons, right? Now the song is only like a couple of minutes, but I look at the song and I go, there's some business lessons. I really like the song. So what I do is I take the words from the song, I look at them, and then I take out what I think are some business lessons. And I was doing two things. I was doing here's some, and I did it like this: 5 business lessons I learned from a Nas song, right? Not you could learn from a Nas song. I learned some Alice Mosley stuff. Do it yourself, find the
Then
lessons,
tell your
and then
story.
tell the story. So I 5 lessons, pull them out. So I decide, I'm gonna do the video, right? Because I had kind of messed the video up. I didn't, I showed the anyway. So I ended up saying, okay, I'm gonna grab all the scenes. So I go to my little, my tools, I go to story blocks, and I start pulling down scenes for a 5.5 minute video. I'm thinking, oh, this is no problem. Now keep in mind, I'm talking, so each point number one. And then I'm talking, but I got to show scenes in between those talking points because I didn't have the camera on me. That's where I made the mistake. I had the camera on the screen and not me talking.
Uh,
Well, boom, I could have just you could have seen me talking. And then when I got to the next scene, but now because it was faced the other way, I ended up having to put a scene to every particular second and moment. And each scene was about 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever. That's a lot. It took me,
yeah.
Rob, I kid you not, it took me 4 hours. And I'm probably being generous. So as y'all hearing this, I want
hmm
you to hear this for a very specific reason. It took me
Right.
4 hours to do the video. I got some music, put it with it, and I immediately put it on YouTube. So it's on YouTube now on my personal channel. So get this. My overseas guy, I'm haggling with them about what they were going to charge me per minute to do my video. 4 hours. If I were
Exactly.
doing something else, I would have been billing at no less than 300 friends and family rate, 300,
hmm
100, $300 an hour to
hmm
up to my range, right?
hmm
4 hours. So if we did the math, if I just gave you the friends and family rate, that I could have been doing something else that was worth $300 an hour to me, that's
hmm
$1,200.
Yep.
My video guy, I'm not even going to tell y'all what he was charging me, but let me tell you, I value him. So I spent 4 hours, probably more, wink, wink, more, $1,200 equivalent in terms of time of what I could have been
hmm
doing. I called my video guy up and says the second part. So the second part was I was going to tell you 5 businesses and services based on what we just learned, the inspiration from this that you could create based on a song. So it was like, here are 5 business lessons and here are 5 products that you could create. That's how my game, that's how I do my
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
That was 7.5 minutes. There was no freaking man, and I was tired. I had to take a couple of breaks. I was my
hmm
brain, and now keep in mind, I'm not digging ditches, y'all. I'm not digging. I'm doing this kind of work, focus, bringing it in, making sure it's right,
hmm
making sure it's square, making sure it matches, making sure I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all that kind of stuff right, making sure it's
Yep.
size right, all that. 4 hours, 4 plus. I send it over to this dude in the Philippines, 7.5 minutes, $150.
hmm
Now,
hmm
I'm not going to let him know. And if you see this, I apologize for haggling with you. $150, and it's so much better. He's got scenes, he's got like the noise and the face value, and oh my God, it's beautiful.
Yep.
Don't be hard-headed, y'all. That, like Rob
Yes.
said, sometimes when you don't value it because you either A, don't go through it, or you don't value your
hmm
time, whatever it is.
Yep.
So calling in the consultant, be in charge what they charge you to find the problem,
Yeah.
right? Now,
And
don't
for
get me
those of you
wrong.
all that are running your businesses, be very clear and be very conscious about being able to articulate that, right? One of the things that So if it was Randy's video guy, one of the things that he needs to be able to say is, so how long is this going to take you to do on your own?
Yeah, he didn't say that.
Exactly. And how much is that time worth to you? Like realistically, and you don't got to give me your friends and family rate, just regular time. Like how much would 4.5 hours be to you? Because here's the thing that he would know with his client. It's gonna be worth more to Randy than it's gonna be to him.
I think it might be game on now because I told him, I says, look, I just did the first part. Follow the format and do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then he sent me the bill, and I was like, I didn't even say happy to pay it. I paid it within minutes.
Exactly. And that
Before he
is
even did it, I says, look,
right.
here.
Hey, it was a steal, right? You were
It
happy to
was
pay it. It was coming out.
painful
And,
for me
and
to do it.
there's something so important. And I think that, like for me, this was the aha moment. Myron Golden said this. He said, sales is about uncovering the value of what you do so well that people are happy to give you their money so that they can get that value, so that they feel like they're getting over on you by giving you their money.
Exactly. That's how I felt when I says here. Cause I'm feeling the pain. I think, man, I went out, shot hoop, man, and I was like, I was sore for a couple of days, but I had to get out of the brain space. So now it caused me physical pain. Here, man, what do
Yes,
you need? And now I'm not look, I don't want to do another video.
exactly.
I
And
just
that's the
don't.
thing. Because once you now have that relief, you're sold not just for now, you're sold continually. And that part, I think, for all you all out there that are running businesses that are doing this, and if you can't figure out, if you can't get that, and I mean, I spent a lot of time trying to figure this out. So I know it's not always easy. You got to understand your market. You got to go learn what the pain points
Mhm.
are. You got to go learn what people in your industry are doing right now to solve that problem, and how much they're paying for it, what they're spending, how much time they're spending, all the rest of that. Because once you have that information, you can actually do the before and after picture of what you do. Because you don't know, for like, let's say you own a restaurant or you own a food truck. If you don't know what your average patron is spending right now for lunch, because right, food trucks are always going, it's lunch or dinner somewhere. You need to know with the people that actually work with you, how often do they eat out? How much are they spending when they eat out? And what is the quality of the food that they're getting when they eat out? Chick-fil-A will always get my money when I go to do fast food for this reason and this reason only. I'm gonna have to pay roughly the same amount of money to eat at McDonald's or Burger King or whatever other fast food restaurant, and I'm not gonna get anywhere near the quality of food or service. And because of that, when I do the math, I could go spend $20, $30 here. And if I got my family with me, I could go spend 40, 50, $60 here. God, them kids can eat. But I can spend 40, 50, $60 here. Or I can spend 40, 50, $60 where I know I'm going to like the food. I know I'm going to get my pleasure. I know I'm going to not have a bad experience. I'm not rolling the dice when I go to Chick-fil-A. When I go to other places, depends on if Sally or whoever it is, Johnny, or if they having a bad day, if the ice cream machine is working, right? Like all the different things. Because when I have that in my head, it's a no-brainer I'm going over here.
It
And that
speaks
can be
to
your business.
I really love the program that you got running now. You just opened it back up, Rob. Time Mastery. Um,
Mm.
the oh my gosh, it is the when you're overcoming the chaos in your life and you take that subset time. What Rob is going to be
Mm-hmm.
doing in this 10 weeks, everybody. And I would be remiss if we didn't mention it. We're going to leave some links. We've improved a couple of things and we're going to leave some updated links. So if you got some of the older links
Mm-hmm.
and they go to just find this video.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us just briefly, and we got a couple minutes left. What are they getting? Thriving in chaos is big. Let's assume
Yeah.
that's the ocean. But
Yeah.
thriving in chaos by using these time mastery techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Drop
Mm-hmm.
some knowledge on us about that.
Well, in the spirit of what we talked about today, I'll tell you the story, right? So the before and the after. Most of the people that come through Thriving in Chaos, if this is you, then you want to listen up. If you feel like there's not enough time in the day to get everything done that you need to get done, if you feel like everybody's always coming to you and they never thinking about what you got to do, that you just always putting out fires, and you're the go-to person. And for a while, that was great. Like it was awesome. But now you kind of walk around every once in a while, like if one more person asks me to do one more thing, I swear I'm gonna scream. Right. If that's your life right now and you're feeling like that passion for helping people, that passion for doing your job, that passion for running your business or whatever is starting to ebb. Here's the thing I want you to know that most people who are in that space, it's a funny thing. It's not that they want to just have free time where they don't got nothing to do, where they ain't nobody's talking to them, none of the rest of that. They actually want to just be able to feel like they're a priority too. Like they're moving forward on their journey. Like you're moving towards your purpose. Like you're doing every day what you're supposed to be here to be doing instead of feeling like you're running on a hamster wheel and you're getting nowhere because you've been spending the last 2, 3, 5, 10 years doing the same thing and feeling like you're stuck, feeling like you're not getting any closer to what you know you're here for. If that's the case, the Time Mastery Mastermind is for you. And here's what the transformation is. Here's the story. The average person that goes through the Time Mastery Mastermind saves 10 hours a week added back to their life to be able to do what they want to do. So they're getting the same work done,
10
but they're
hours.
getting 10 hours per week. Now, 10 hours per week, that's an extra 500 hours per year. Most of my clients, an extra 500 hours for them is somewhere in the ballpark of an extra $15,000 or more, right? If that doesn't make sense to you, if that math doesn't work for you and that's not your time ain't worth that much, that's okay, right? There's a book you can read, you can do it on your own, that works too.
No
But
harm, no
if
foul. Keep it moving.
right, no harm, no foul. But if your time, if you could get an extra 500 hours to play with your kids, to go on vacation, to relax, right? One of my clients, she ran a business, single mom of three. She was able to save almost 20 hours a week, actually, was her number. But she was also able to double her prices in her business and her revenue. And she was actually making triple the profit before that she was making, especially when she factored in how much less time she was having to put into it. So she was able to cook dinner for her kids and be there and take weekends off and do all the rest of that type of stuff. So if that's something that you're looking for in the course, what we do is we help you to develop success habits. You're going to get the book, you're going to get the audio book, you're going to get daily videos. It's a 10-week course where we're going to work together and you're going to be able to not just get the information, because I'm not about informational education, right? Information, if you don't apply it, is not actual power. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. What
Action.
we do in the exactly action, take action. What we do in the mastermind is we allow you to go and figure out and do the things and try the things. And then you come back and we work on it. We workshop it. We figure out how do you apply these things to your life? How do you make it work for you instead of just it's supposed to work over here?
Okay, everybody. I'm going to cut Rob off right there because I don't want him to tell you too much of what you get inside the class. Okay? Fair? All right. And if you've made it this far in what we talk about here and the stuff that we do at the Two Business Guys Mastermind, then you know, and if you've heard how we get down, we give you the straight stuff. We give you those tips, we give you those tricks, we give you those templates, and now we're giving you another opportunity, or Rob's giving you, this is Rob's thing, but I'm going to help him, promote it as best I possibly can. If you see yourself, then click the link, right? That link will take you right over. Now, it may have, I'm just going to say this, it may or may not have a waiting list, depending on when you click that button. It may have a waiting list. Now, we'll find out once you click it, depending on where the class is. If it's full, then we're going to ask you to join the waiting list. But if you get in right away, you can get in right away. Just saying. Rob,
Yeah.
man, I appreciate everything we were able to talk about today.
Yeah, it
So
was a good
everybody,
talk. Good talk.
everybody, listen in, rewind, hear what we're saying to you. Ask yourself that question. Could this work for my stuff? What they're talking about. Apply some of the principles, and then in the comments, come on back and says, you guys are full of canal water, or you guys are right on it. I applied it and it worked. We'd love to hear from you. All right, we'll talk to you next time, everybody.
Have a great one, everybody.